Gonna have to make another one of these videos where people are gonna get mad because I don't hate something as much as everyone else. All right, so I went and saw the Crow movie. And is it a good movie? No. Is it this most awful, terrible thing, this 1.5 or the worst movie of the year? No, I'd still rank it above Rebel Moon and Madam Web and several other movies. But yeah, welcome to the El Cachorro Show. This is my fun movie reviews that everyone gets mad because now we live in a world where it's either you love everything, it's 9 or 10, or it's a 2, it's 3, it's garbage. I'm the guy who says there's this thing called the middle. That's where this movie falls in. It falls in the middle. Rating of the battle, I'll say right now, it's about 6. The last half hour's a violent action gore fest that's really, really fun to watch. The rest is, real slow moving, slow paced, drama filled. And it makes more sense for what this movie's supposed to be. I think a lot of people live off the nostalgia of the first movie, and they don't remember that the first movie may not be as good as they think it was. If it wasn't for Brandon Lee and the fact that he died while making the movie, that movie would have been super forgettable. Any other actor makes that movie, doesn't get killed on set while filming it, and I bet you hardly anybody would remember that movie. Just go say it. Everybody like, oh, we're super Crow fans. This is destroying the lore. Okay, look, here's fandoms for you here. Star Wars and Marvel and DC is up here. The Crow fandom is like down here. It's below things like Battlestar Galactica, Mad Max, Gamera fans, Ultraman fans, Power Rangers fans are above this. Sorry guys, but the Crow fan base is like very bottom of the barrel fandom. So all the people are going to be making videos. Oh, I'm a huge fan of the first one. I bet you haven't watched that first one in like 10 years. And they're just living off the nostalgia of what they think of the first one because of the legacy of Brandon Lee, right? People are going to like that. People are going to get mad. Sorry if I pissed you off, but it's true. First movie, they kill off the couple in the first 10 minutes of the movie. So you're supposed to, there's a loving couple, and now they're automatically dead all of a sudden. And then half the movie, you have him going and getting his revenge and get some really comical like bad guys. Some of the bad guys are very comical and over the top. Or he's hanging out with this little girl that knew him before he died and reconnecting with her. And the new movie, no little kid in it. No little kid. I remember you, Eric. Fuck that shit. We don't need that. Oops, I cursed already. It could have been a lot better. I'm not calling it, like I said, it's not a good movie. The story spends a lot of the opening sequence is building the romance between the two characters instead of just trying to automatically imply they're this big super loving couple. You actually see them kind of meet and kind of fall in love. I guess people are mad because I guess part of their love is tattoos and partying and getting stoned and some drug alcohol. Oh, dude, I do drugs. Dude, we live in a nation now that is legalizing pot in every state. Though. Shut the fuck up. Okay. So it does build up their relationship more before the incident happens that causes him to become a crow. Instead of him just coming back and being some like badass, he's kind of put it together and takes him a minute to kind of figure out what's is. And there's like an incident that happens at one point where he then turns kind of into accepts the full badassness of being a crow. And then, like I said, from there it's violence and gore could be, and it's pretty fucking entertaining, that part. Like the last half hour of the movie is pretty entertaining. Um, so it's more dark, it's more grounded. We don't get he don't do like the little one liners like Brandon Lee dropped. It can't rain all the time. We don't get that. He's not. We don't get those. Or they making the crow with fire. Some of the more symbolism stuff they did in the '90s version, which worked more in the '90s version. And yeah, that's a big miss for us. Like I said, that's why I said this would be a 5 if I'd probably give this a 5 if it wasn't for the last action sequence. That alone is why I give it the 6, because the last action and the fact that I respect that they tried to go a different direction instead of just making the straight remake. They tried to do a little supernatural twist to the story, and in a world where someone can come back from the dead as a crow, I respect that. It's like, okay, why should that? The first one was like pretty much like the bad guys were just a gang, and like the gang's leader had like this chick that was in the kind of witchcraft kind of stuff. But right now they were just some big gang for the most part. So this one adds on to a more supernatural evil bad guy who's also using powers from the other side. I know that's kind of probably giving out a little too much. I don't know. That might be in the plot synopsis. So I'm not trying to give out too much there. Although if you're watching this, you're probably not going to watch the movie anyway. So or care about seeing this movie. So the action and violence when we get it is really good. The story starts off super slow paced, and or the pacing, I guess you could say. So it's super slow paced at the first, but they're building the relationship, which I thought I had no problem with their relationship. A lot of people hate it. Obviously, it sounds like hated their building of their relationship. It's 2024, man. So not everybody's just super Billy and Bobby and all preppy and all that stuff anymore. You gotta get there's different people out there now, folks. People, so I guess I don't like to accept people that live differently than them. I had no problem with how they built the relationship. Thought that was kind of cool that it actually kind of showed them kind of building their relationship, showing who they were together, and obviously there's a bigger reason for why they get murdered, which is, let's save that for a little bit until I fully go into spoilers. So the story like I said, I like the fact they didn't just make a straight remake. It's a different twist to it. They added a little supernatural element. I applaud them for doing that. It's still just it's a passable story. It could have been done way better. As we already seen from a lot of the trailers, when he's the crow in this full crow outfit, it don't look good. It don't. I mean, I guess we are spoiled by the Brandon Lee and the light long hair and the white face with the. I mean, he put some black makeup on his face and still pretty much got short hair and it's a more modern look to some. It's modern. The Brandon Lee look's not as modern today, so it is a more modern look, but it doesn't look as good. So that I do get downplay for that. The acting was so. I mean, I didn't really hate any of the acting in it. Some people were actually hating on that. I thought it was okay. I mean, nothing's really stood out, but nothing I really loved, nothing I really hated. I think that's so. Most of the overall non-spoiler ways we can talk about stuff. Like I said, it's a 6, maybe 5.5. Just because there's some really cool choreographed fight scene at the end. That's the most memorable part about it. And if you think about the first movie too much, the biggest thing about that movie is pretty much the last half hour of that movie too. Yeah, he's got some cool kills along the way. I mean, it's a cool kill. Then he interacts with the little girl for a while, the kid girl for a while, remembering his past. Then he gets a cool kill. Then he interacts with the kid girl and I think maybe a cop as well. So, I mean, I haven't watched that movie in a long time either, but yeah, I'm pretty sure that movie's not as great as everyone tries to act like they remember it being if you go back and watch it again. So, yeah, so let's say, I mean, yeah, it's not as good as the original. And if you want to watch a Bill Skarsgård movie from this year, I still will say watch Boy Kills World. It's the same type of movie, a revenge storyline, pretty much, and I think it was way more enjoyable. A lot more violence, a lot more gore. Has a more comic. It definitely had its more comical elements. So if you're gonna watch one, watch that one. So I recommend that one over this all the time. But as for people like, oh, this is the worst movie of the year. It's not Madam Web. It's not any of the Rebel Moons. Okay, so this is definitely far from not the bottom of the bag. So as I said, it's about a mid movie. That's why it's in August. Although I say that when we have had two of the biggest hits of the year in August. I don't know. This has been a weird year. Like nothing good came out, and like May was really weak. June was super weak. July was super weak. And then we had like the two big hitters that dropped in August. So I have no idea why they dropped Deadpool and Alien back to back in August. Next year's even going to be worse. We got a streak from June 20th to the end of July, which is absolutely ridiculous, full of packed of interesting, possible big movies and a couple of little movies that sound interesting. That's another story, though. All right, so we get into the spoilers. All right, so we start off with our girl, Shelly, gets a call from her friend. There's this video of her on her phone. It's a very incriminating video that the bunch of bad guys really don't like or are mad about, and they're coming after. They nab her friend, and Shelly tries to run, but there's already somebody coming after her, so she on purposely walks right into a couple cops, dropping her purse on the ground, and where she has some drugs and stuff like that, so she causes herself to get arrested, so the guy can't get her. Actually, it opens with Eric having a dream about a horse wrapped in barbed wire, so I guess his horse died, got stuck in barbed wire. So she gets sent to this rehab place where Eric already is in rehab, and he's just not participating in everything. He's all solemn and stuff like that. And of course, they make their connection there. And they start getting close there. All of a sudden, the bad guys find out that's where she's at, so they're coming to get her. That's when they decide to. So they have to break out right then and there. So they have an easy breakout strategy. It's very. Like I said, it's not a good. I'm not claiming it's a good movie. So they're able to like take off their ankle bracelets and crawl through a window in the laundry room and escape. Now they're back in the city living. Don't know if they're. I don't really know how this works with how they got out. If they're like wanted or anything from the rehab or anything like that, because they like kind of seem like they're just living their normal lives. So I guess the police aren't after them. But we get more of the so we still build more and more of the love stuff with them. And the first they found out that the one friend that's from the beginning who said she had the video on her phone is killed. We found out the bad guy's this older guy who has demonic powers. He's been gifted eternal life by making a deal with the devil or something like similarly the deal with the devil. He made some kind of deal, and he can like do this little talking tongues thing in someone's ear to coerce them to do whatever he wants. And they'll kill themselves. He can like do it to get them to kill themselves. And because the deal is he's supposed to send innocent souls. He's supposed to get the innocent souls to send to the devil, I guess you would say. So we see him. So he kills her, and then they find her body in the river. And now all of a sudden, so Eric and Shelly have now been, I guess, intermingling with her friends or some of his friends or something. I don't know if he didn't kind of sound like he had any friends, so I assume they were her friends. So they're not hiding too heavily per se. But I guess word gets out about it, and someone sends a warning. And one of their friends comes to the nightclub to warn her that they need to get out of town because this so and so's dead, and they're going to be coming after you. So they go back to his place, and boom, the bad guys are there. And they put the plastic bags over their face and suffocate them to death. And of course, then we see a scene where it's like a lake, and she's being dragged down. He's trying to get her, but he's getting pulled up. He goes into this, I guess, limbo area where a guy's kind of telling him the rules. So he's got someone that's kind of telling him, "Oh, you're the crow. You got to make things right. And if you make things right, you can bring her back, and you can both be back together again." So pretty much they want the other guy because the other guy's cheating life. So it's kind of like it. So there's, like I said, in the first movie, it's like, oh, boom, this guy gets these, he comes back from the dead to do this avenging powers, but there's nothing else supernatural really about their world except for the chick that gets into witchcraft a little bit, learns that the crow's like his secret weapon. So this one, okay, so there's this crow powers, and there's got to be some other powers, and so they're giving him the powers pretty much because they need someone to go take out this other guy because they want him to balance it out. The side of good needs him sent down, and that he can't be hurt as long as he. So he goes back, he's kind of finding out that he can feel pain, but it doesn't. He can, because he comes back inside where he died, and I guess they send the cop guy that's on the payroll over there to find the phone. So he's there, and he comes out and he shoots him, and he's like, "Wait a minute!" He falls down, gets back up, like, "Whoa, hey!" So there's a little fight there, and that's where he finds out he can heal. Gets sent back to limbo. Then where he goes, "Okay, now you figured it out. Now you got it down. Yes, you can get hurt, you feel pain, but you heal, and you can't die as long as your love stays true. So as long as he keeps his love for her, then he's good." So then he goes pretty much on a mission trying to hunt down, because he doesn't know who this guy was and so he's trying to unfold the mystery of who killed them and why. So he comes across the phone, and the video that was taken on the phone, the incriminating video, is because the girl, Shelley, was a musician, so she was a pianist, and the bad guy likes, I guess, musicians, because there's another one he's kind of, looks like he's in the verge of starting to want to corrupt down the road. That'll take musicians, and I guess he makes them to do evil things. So he did a whisper in her ear, so she picked up a knife whenever and started stabbing someone. So he got him on video of him putting the knife in front of her, whispering something, doing his little whisper thing in her ear, and she just zones out, picks up the knife, and goes over and starts attacking the person. And this kind of freaks him out at first, because now he's kind of a little freaked out about it, because he just found out that she murdered someone, and she didn't tell him this. More bad guys show up here, though, and he takes a shotgun blast to the stomach, but instead of healing, this time he dies because he says he has doubt for her right now. So he goes back to the limbo, and he goes like, "Oh, you failed your mission, so she's gone forever. You lost your love." And so he makes a deal like, "Well, my soul for hers, and let me take her. I'll take her place if you send her back." And that's when he gets super crow power. That's when he becomes the full crow. He goes, and then this gets sent back, and then he goes back, wakes back up. The guys are there saying, "Oh, he died." He kicks all their asses. And then he goes after the main guy, so then he has to go to an opera because he thinks that's where the main guy is. That's where the chick was that he remembers seeing. So he goes to this opera for this badass violent scene. He's got a sword, so he's pretty much fighting with a sword, chopping people's head, like mouths off from their head and stuff, and has a sword get stabbed. Somehow the sword gets stabbed through him, and he's using it to stab people from behind. And it's super gory, super violent, very John Wickish, I guess you would say. So this scene, this pretty much whole part right here is just the fun part of watching. This is the whole fun of the movie right here. So to me, that's what that was the most enjoyable part of the movie. That's why I give it the 6. Okay, maybe it should be a little high, 5.5. So like I said, other than that, it's about an average movie. I'm just like that. So from there, the chick pretty much is ready to gives up that she's ready to die. She says he's just like the other guy, and she tells him where he's at, and he cuts her head off. Then he shows himself to the whole opera crowd, which I thought was kind of weird. She just walks out with the heads, shows them up, and throws them down. I guess to say, "Hey, look, the best." So then we go to the house where the guy is. I thought we were going to get another. So all it pretty much is, he walks right in, goes right down to the basement where the guy's just chilling in his demonic-ish lair, I guess you could say. And the guy's trying to use his words to try and say, "Oh, she can't come back to them," and all this stuff, just to get him to lose his focus a little bit, and then he's able to stab him and whisper, and he does a little whisper thing in his ear, calling him to zone out. And then the guy has a thing where he will cut himself. But we saw this earlier when he killed the one chick. Is after she stabbed herself, he cut his hand and put his hand on her blood, and that's supposedly how he gets power or something along that line. So he stabs him in the chest to say, "But you don't feel anything." And then he's able to do with a whisper in his ear to get him to kind of like start from spitting out. Where the guy he already stabbed his hand earlier, trying to show that, hey, look, see, I'm human, I can bleed. So now he's trying to like use the blood thing to get the crow powers. And the guy is able to break out of it. He remembers his love for the girl. He breaks out of it, and they jump out a window, and they fall into the limbo area where they finish their fight in the little limbo yard area where the crow has all the power. Until like the demon, the hell's demons were able to grab the guy and pull him down to hell. Shelly comes back out. Then Shelly's released, and she gets to go free. So he says, I can't go with you. You have to, but you get to go on." So she gets to go back. We see her this is a good. This gets a little weird because she like comes back to life. The paramedics are like doing that, so she comes back to life right pretty much where she died. So it kind of makes it kind of weird that we kind of jump back in time a little bit. So that part is a little weird with the story. So I don't know how that works. And he's pretty much laying dead next to her. So the paramedic bringing her back to life is the same guy that's been talking to him to limbo, and he's kind of like saying, "Yes, he fought hard for you." And then he kind of just does his little speech at the end that she gets to have memories and live and all this stuff. And he just walks through the limbo. So he doesn't get dragged to hell. So I thought that's what he was trading his soul for. His soul will take her place in hell. So I don't know if they're trying to set up like this universe where they could do sequels with him as a crow still. That he would go fight other things. I don't know if that was their intentions or not. There's no post-credit scene. So the story is very bland, very blah. Like I said, I like the fact they twisted and give it the villain a supernatural twist instead of just some gang drug lord guy, whatever. I can't remember the first guy it was. It was gang or drug lord or something. I think it was drugs. So giving that little supernatural twist, he had that demonic stuff right there, and so the crow was being sent to go get this kind of like a Spawn Ghost Rider kind of thing. It was like, hey, we want him back down here. He's not supposed to be alive. So I do appreciate that they tried to do a little twist on it instead of just the normal remake. I think it could have been done better. The story definitely could have been better and more interesting. Like I said, yeah, we start off with a whole bunch of the romance stuff of them building their romance instead of like the first movie, which was like, this is a couple, they're super lovey-dovey. 15 minutes into the movie, they're dead. Now you just get lovey-dovey flashbacks throughout the movie of him and her and interactions of him remembering his life through this little interactions he keeps running into about this teenage girl that knew him when they were alive and recognizes him as the crow, and that stuff was just as bad, folks. Like I said, there's no kid in this one interacting with you. Hey, you Arian. Pretty sure doesn't the kid and the crow get kidnapped in that movie at some point? Now he has to save both of them. So there's no real connection. There's a crow that follows him throughout the movie, but there's no real connections that is his lifeblood. That if something happens to the crow, he would die. So there's none of that's not put into that thing. I don't know. I guess crow lore people might, the crow fandom of 1,000 people might get mad about that. But I said they took some chances. Some worked, some didn't. Like the violence of gore was good. I appreciate that they tried something with the story. It just wasn't that good. I don't know if they should let him grow his hair out longer and try to do like more of a long hair kind of look. Because I don't think his crow look was that good. I guess it was too modern. Looked too modern. Yeah. So like I said, it's about 5.5, 6. If you want to watch a Bill Skarsgård movie, go watch Boy Kills World. I think I gave that a 7. I thought that was a super fun movie. I only went and saw this movie because I have a Regal pass, so I didn't charge. I only paid 50 cents. Well, I pay 18 months, so $18 a month and 50 cents. But since this is the third movie of August I've seen, so that makes it like $6. I saw it was $6.50 for me to see this movie. So yeah, maybe not worth paying It's about $14 that you would pay. So that maybe watch it when it's on a streaming service. Like I said, once you get past the action sequence towards the end is pretty much the best thing to watch. It's the most interesting part of it. But all right, there's Cachorro moves. Let's see how much hate I get now from the comments about you didn't give this movie a 1 and you didn't say it was awful and terrible and the worst thing ever. Some of y'all never seen Noah's Shark or Punch Drunk Love or there was something like Pimps and Dinosaurs. It was an Amazon. It was made looked like it was made in a kid's basement. And the dinosaurs were made of Play-Doh. Those are ones. Punch Drunk Love movie. I'm gonna give that a 2. But yeah. You haven't watched movies like I have. You watch movies like I have, you know what a 1 is. All right, like I said, I didn't hate Madam Web like everyone else did either, but I'd say this is better than Madam Web. I haven't watched the longer cuts of Rebel Moon, but I'd say it's better than the original Rebel Moons that came out. I'm sure I can find a ton of movies that I would say this is better than. Not all of them are going to be low B movies that you've never heard of. There's probably some good movies on here that I'd say this movie's better than. Even a Marvel's movie. Probably better than, would I say it's better than the Eternals? Might be better than the Eternals. That movie was a cluster bomb of 2 movies trying to be combined into one. It was like half of my brain to go down that road. That's another video. All right, till next time, Cachorro out.